Alright, so I recorded this Turds vs. Smokes match while doing other stuff, and we're gonna see what we can do to recreate it. This is not going to be the most extensive video analysis. The first goal is, as always, going to be figure out what's going on, what has happened so far. So one thing to note is I believe I should bring up, this is not great work from me. Not that I regularly do great work, but I believe this is SPC. So we see Turdz start with 6, 3, 2, 6, and 9. We know Turdz went there because that's the only card of his color and no flips could have happened, and he had first turn because he's up to move with third turn. My friend back in the day had a book of chess puzzles titled like Detective or whatever, and you had to figure out how to reach the position. And it's a way where it was always like sneaky paths to get there that required very specific stuff or it didn't work. And you can sort of obviously usually easier with TTA, but to some extent you can deduce what must have happened there, and I think we're going to be doing a lot of that. This is level 1, yes, SPC. No, this is not level 1. This is level 4. Wait, what? This must be round 2. This is level 3 SPC. Max of 2 7s total in the hand. We can see Turdz has gone for them on 7-5-4s and Smoke on 7-5-3s. No 7-6s. Max of 2 6-6s. They have each used 2 6-6s. And no rares or semis. Something I've talked about with someone who shall remain unnamed, but their name rhymes with Midiot. Real ones will know. You don't have to be that real. Anyway, okay, I'm getting distracted. What are we talking about? We're talking about triple try. Yes. He was saying, like, could you do stips where you say max of, like, 1 of X or 2 of X or something like that, where the X is a really bad card and trick people into using it? And I think you might be able to trick people into using it. That said, these are good cards. Okay, whatever. Let's look at the position. So Turdz starts in 9. Smokes does not have either of his 7s facing that direction. So he plays in 5, but he doesn't play in 5 that's in a way that sets himself up for 8. Curious. Did he have a way to do so that did? I don't think so. So Turdz is presumably going to play in 6, because Smokes doesn't have 8. Yeah, so I expect to see 7, 5, 1, 4, and 6. Let's skip ahead. Just logical. Alright, Turdz really thinking it through, or I never reloaded, so this is going to skip ahead too long. Alright, well, Turdz plays in 6, and Smokes plays in 8. Can we get a moment before Smokes has gone in 8? No. Alright, well, this is the problem with leaving your computer alone and going to do other stuff. That said, Smokes is making it as hard as he can for Turdz to take things. So moves in 5 are usually to set stuff up, and here it did set up 6. But it can also just have kind of annoying numbers facing out, and that's what Smokes is creating here. He's creating something where it's really hard for Turdz to take anything, and it's really hard for Smokes to take anything, and if no one can ever take anything, at least you get a tie. It looks like Turdz should probably play 4, 1, 5, 7, and 3 and take the safety, and ask Smokes if he has safety. And we notice that Smokes does not have safety in 7, because if he puts a 7 up, 5, 6, 5, 1 covers it, and if he puts a 6 up, then 2, 6, 6, 3 covers it. So 4, 1, 5, 7, and 3 looks really promising. Smokes also doesn't have safety in 2 because he has no right power left. Looks pretty easy for Turdz to be winning there. It's hard for there to be something creative in 1 because you're only setting up on your own cards and Turdz just needs to be able to take something at the end. But actually, the idea in 1 gives me a different idea. Because if Turdz goes 3 and Smokes goes 1, and Turdz goes 2, if Smokes had something to put in 4, with either a 5 or 6 down, that would be safe. And that means 4 is kind of weirdly valuable real estate. So could you just play in 4 immediately? I'm not sure. That's kind of weird. On the other hand, based on when I flashed ahead too far, it's possible it's what we're going to see. Yeah, it is. Okay, so what's going on here? Smokes is actually doubly safe to 7. There's no plus wall, so he's safe to 1 or 2. And is he swept if Turdz starts in 7? Because if Turdz goes in 1 or 2, it's easy. Smokes can play in the other one, and it's 5-5. But if Turdz starts in 7 and keeps a sweeper, he usually wins here. But whichever card he keeps cannot take 5, and cannot take whatever's in 1, so Smokes just plays 1. Nicely held tie by Smokes. That's an interesting game. Well played by Smokes, and I sure should, you know, make a longer video out of this and look at another game they played, but I also don't have that many videos in reserve. So we're going to make some real quick ones here, and this is the first of them. Interesting game. I am always very skeptical of these positions where you kind of sack a big chunk of the board, where Turdz has safety in 6 and 9, and even though Smokes has safety in 5 and 8, his safety is much more precarious and much more easily becomes unsafe. But normally you kind of play on diagonals, and he played sort of side to side of stuff in a way that kept that safety. And I think was really nice. Yeah, obviously everything Turdz did this game looks great, but Smokes found a really interesting way to hold it, and I know some people find this much more intuitive than I do, but I think most of these players go for this a lot more than it is actually good, but it's interesting to see ideas like this when it is good. I remember there's a couple players coming to mind here, but I guess the one I'll shout out is Doom Train was able to hold a ridiculous number of ties in positions where he would give up a whole chunk of the board, where he'd give up like 1, 2, and 3, and he'd have 4, 5, and 6, but he'd have slowly and very conscientiously built a wall facing out from 4, 5, and 6, and would be able to hold a tie at the end. There's possibly multiple games, but at least one in the finals of an early chat tournament. I want to say in the 3 to 8 range, if you want to go find this, but Doom Train versus Dalamar, where he held some ties doing this in really interesting fashion and went on to win it. But you don't see it that often, and it's hard to pull off and needs a nice feel for directions. And no plus wall definitely makes it more functional. But a lot of us kind of play the same way regardless of rules. Like, we still check the same squares first. We don't rearrange how we think. But this is the kind of play that can have some nice effect here. Yeah, interesting game by Smokes.